What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sit Around the Fire. I am bringing you 5 non-negotiables, 5 areas of life that I feel like are super important for us to hold as priorities. These are the things in our life that require time, energy, money, deliberate focus, evaluation on if we want to live our most harmonious, abundant, joyful life. So I hope that you tap into the conversation, you get a lot out of this, and let me know what resonates with you, what benefit, whatever takeaway you get from this conversation. All right, welcome in. Hey everybody, if you are anything like me, you have found that at sometimes life can feel like a lot. There's a lot going on, there's a lot to manage. It can become overwhelming to try to navigate and work through all the different aspects of our lives. However, I'm going to talk to you, look at 5 areas of our life, 5 areas that I consider as non-negotiables. And these I've found are areas that they cannot be neglected. That in fact, they actually require very intentional reflection and effort and all of the things when it comes to creating and manifesting and just doing work in these categories. Is these 5 non-negotiables are things that require time, energy, and money. And I want to bring these up and kind of chunk them down into the 5 different areas, or like I said, 5 non-negotiables, and really bring this conversation to light as a method to being aware of where you are in your life with these categories and where there's areas for improvement or what you want them to look like, or maybe you've never even considered that to be its own kind of category before. But I'm sure you're like me and that you would really, really love to experience life with peace and harmony and like joy, essentially, is feeling the goodness out of life. And these 5 non-negotiables can really help to set us up with that. Like living your most abundant, free life, living a life that maybe you never even thought was possible, but really intentionally giving these a good, serious looking at, and just recognizing that these are things that are going to have to be addressed and looked out throughout the course of our life. So this is a investment in yourself. Sometimes this idea, and I have this conversation a lot with people, is it feels like wrong, or like you're doing something wrong, or it's counterculture to put yourself as a priority. And I think like if we can move forward to just squashing that idea altogether, this guilt or even shame that comes with making yourself a priority, or this idea that you need to be so self-sacrificing and not putting yourself first. Like I'm not talking about being a jerk here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about just stomping all over everybody else. But I am like actually calling us out to say, like, are we intentionally taking care of ourselves? Because the ironic thing is if we don't do that, we're really not showing up with a good capacity or really worth anything to anyone else. It's kind of living under this illusion that because I'm constantly giving and I'm not taking care of myself, that I'm somehow a good person. And I don't know, we need to just reverse that psychology and start looking at things differently, of where if we choose to invest in ourselves first, it's actually going to set us up with such far greater capacity and compassion and understanding and all the good things that we want to bring into life around us. What we dwell upon will 100% be what we become. That's why in these 5 non-negotiables, it's essential that we have a clear priority and a clear understanding of where we're at and what we want out of these areas. Eckhart Tolle has a brilliant quote that I think fits so well here. And he says, "Awareness is the greatest agent of change." And I could not agree with that more, is that we have to start being real with each other, or ourselves really, and each other, but we have to take this internal inventory of where we're at, and also looking at what are my narratives, what are my stories, what are my beliefs about these things within these non-negotiables, and how is that playing out either in a pattern, or how is it just strictly playing out within my life now? It's not good enough to just be aware. I'm not just going to give you the pass on, okay, you have been aware of it, and that is all. Like, that's not good enough. Like, we can't just be aware of things. We have to actually do something about it. So stop giving yourself the excuse or the pass or whatever you're doing, and start just taking accountability and doing something with it. A really good example, I think, that fits here that will resonate with everybody is when we think about physical health. That's an easy one that people usually want to improve on or have some goal around, and especially as we're moving into the first of the year as well. It's the good old New Year's resolution time. But when you think about physical health, it's all well and said if I put it out there that I want to improve my physical health, but then I don't actually do a workout plan or change a workout routine or dial in my nutrition, fuel my body with what's best. I'm not actually getting adequate sleep or managing stress or whatever it is supporting my body. I'm not going to get any changes out of it. It's kind of wasted energy to even put that thought out there of, I want to focus on my physical health, but then I don't actually show up and do anything. So I want to really encourage you that, yes, I want you to be aware of it, and you do have to get clear about what's going on and what you want, but then get out there and do something about it. So start taking accountability and responsibility for what you want out of your life. Okay, here we go. Buckle up. It's time. So the first non-negotiable is spirituality. And before you slam on the brakes or the record stops, I want to make it clear and actually thinking about what the definition of spirituality is, because we get this really confused sometimes with religion, and we're not looking at it in the state of the religion side. Although sometimes spirituality is closely connected to religion for people. But what I want you to think of here in the context of what I'm talking about in this first non-negotiable is how spirituality is really just a connection with your inner world. So we're thinking about personal growth. We're thinking of being alive, like that feeling, that amazing sensation of being alive, the purpose in what we do. All of this is wrapped up into the spirituality package and a lot more, but that's a good basis for you to think about is, how are you connecting with your inner world? How are you getting quiet? How are you showing up? And to get you started and kind of going in that direction, and maybe you already have a practice that you do for this non-negotiable, but I want to encourage you to come up with either meditation or prayer or just a quietness type of a practice. The importance in doing this is that we have to get quiet. everything around us is so loud. There's so much going on. And then inside of our conscious mind, it's also incredibly chaotic and neurotic within there as well, too. I think they've mentioned now, studies have shown that there's like 50,000 thoughts a day that occur. And I guarantee you can find 10 minutes total within your day to make this happen. So in the morning, 5 minutes of sitting, getting quiet, 5 minutes in the evening, sitting, getting quiet. And if you want to dive into more techniques and methods of how you can do certain types of breathing or certain types of meditation, or even if it's just prayer, there's so many different resources out there. We are, of course, so happy to help connect you in with some different practices. But the whole point is starting your day in a quiet headspace, or just being still, really, and ending your day being still as well. Give it a try for like 7 days. Try it and just see how things shift and feel differently for you. The other aspect here that I think really resonates and connects with a lot of us is just getting out in nature. There's such a strong connection with getting connected to your inner world, but just kind of clearing everything out when we get out into nature. So getting outside, putting your feet in the grass, like sitting next to or hugging a tree, like being in the sunshine, anything like that is going to give you that same sense of really just being alive, that connecting back into who you are. So that has to be for sure the top most important non-negotiable of all of these, is that deep interconnection with yourself. Now, the second aspect of this is going to be your mental and emotional health. And when we kind of think about moving through the next of the non-negotiables, is I really want you to sit with this idea of being the person that you want to attract. And it's not always necessarily just in the case of attracting a partner or a spouse or anything like that, but think about like what you want to pull into your life and how this will connect with the next non-negotiables as we go through them. So number 2 non-negotiable is mental and emotional health. This is going to look like therapy. How are you personally developing? And are you being consistent in these areas? So I know that there's all kinds of discussion around this when it comes to therapy and what therapy is and like how does it fit into what you need in your life. And if you go back a couple of podcasts, we have a really good one on like not waiting till things are so bad until you go get help, but realizing that therapy is a maintenance program. It's something that you tap into and you use not when you're just in the pits or the thick of it, but when you're growing and you're like going through different seasons of life. It's used for growth and expansion. It's not just about dealing with what's happening in the instant moment. Is wrapping your mind around going to therapy is going to be a lot like going to get the oil changed in my car. It's something that I just incorporate in as a practice because I am choosing to invest in myself. Okay, I'm going to be real with you guys. Is so many times I see people drop away or fade out of therapy because they start to get into this mindset of either I'm too busy, I can't fit it into my schedule, or I can't afford it, whatever it is. Like there's some excuse that always comes from the person, but really the underlying belief is either I don't believe I deserve it, I don't believe I'm worth it, I'm not a priority to myself. It is basically discounting that and not choosing to make it a priority for you. And I'm here to say like that is 100% Up to you, your choice. If it is not a priority for you and where you are now, that's totally okay. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with being in that spot when you're there. However, I'm very much on the team of once you cross the threshold and once you start to do the work, is just clean house and get it done. Is just really, really go all in and choose to say, I'm making this a priority for me, whatever therapy looks like, whether it's going to be the traditional talk therapy or hypnosis or hot and cold therapy, equine therapy, massage, like any of those kind of things all fall within this realm of it. But just commit to making it a practice. It has to be a practice. We're going to talk about the next pillar, which is going to feed into this as well. But I want you to reflect on this quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza. Your thoughts have consequences so great that they create your reality. And I am here to tell you 100% if your mental health, your thoughts are centered around things like fear, anxiety, guilt, anger, all of those kinds of things and the emotions that follow with all those core emotions, is that your life is going to reflect all of those things. So if you are sitting in a mind that's full of worry and panic and fear, your thoughts are going to create a reality around you that is going to support that. You're going to have situations, experiences, relationships that are all going to perpetuate and grow that belief that's there. If you want peace in your life, if you want joy and harmony within your life, you have to create your thoughts. Your thoughts have to be centered around that in order to create that reality around you. And I'm not the one just like pulling a fast one on you. This is real legit science. You can look up all of these neuroscientists that are telling you the same thing. Your mind is incredibly powerful. And if you want these good things out of life, like you've got to choose very carefully what your thoughts are. And that requires intentional work within your mental and emotional health. Now, non-negotiable number 3, physical health. This, it seems fairly straightforward, but I want to expand and maybe inspire you to look at some things that maybe you hadn't thought about with physical health, but realizing like if your mind and your body are not in a good spot, like it's very hard for us to show up and do the job, no matter what job that looks like. It's very hard for us to show up with any kind of like intentionality or connection within our relationships. So your physical health is, again, a non-negotiable. Dr. Andrew Huberman, everybody knows him, but he has a really good saying that I like with this. He says, along with sleep and exercise, nutrition is one of the most important pillars for physical and mental health, as well as performance. And that brings us to aspect number 1 in our physical health is our nutrition. And I think we often overlook this, or we don't think about it, or we don't put a lot of energy and thought into this. It can sometimes become fairly passive. But because there's a super highway of communication between the mind and the gut and the brain really, and the gut, is it what you eat is going to impact your thoughts. It's going to impact your mental health, your brain, all of that. If you're feeding yourself with a bunch of highly processed, really crappy for you food, I guarantee your mental health, your mind is not going to feel awesome. Like you are not going to feel awesome. On the flip side, if you choose to fuel yourself with nutrition such as like limited ingredient foods and more like fruits and vegetables and drinking plenty of water, is that's all going to feed the good microbiome within your gut. And because of that gut-brain axis, that gut-brain communication that happens, it's going to have an overall positive impact on your mental health and your well-being. It's so simply as just paying attention to what you're eating and what you're fueling your body with. Number 2 of here is going to be regular exercise. And whatever this looks like for you, but I want it to also be something that you actually enjoy doing. So many of us have spent way too many years of our life doing stupid exercise that we didn't really enjoy, that we often dreaded doing, and it really doesn't get you very far. If you've ever noticed or been aware of when you are stuck in a fitness rut, how your mind is a huge game player here. If you're doing something that you don't enjoy to do, an exercise, a routine of something that you're not getting any kind of joy out of, your physical, literally your cells are going to respond to those thoughts of, we don't really like this exercise. We don't really like this routine, or I don't want to do this. Your body is going to respond to that, and you're not going to see the progress and the gains that you would ultimately see if you were into it, if you were excited about doing your fitness, if you were doing something that was different and it was mentally challenging to you at the same time. Your physiological response is going to be so much different coming into that kind of exercise. So I really do encourage you to find something that you actually like to do. It doesn't have to be just shredding and destroying yourself all the time, unless that's something you actually like. But find something that's just fun. Get out and move your body, including just getting out there and walking. Walking is one of the most incredible stress relieving tools that we have. It is very understated. It's becoming more normal, but realizing that walking can get you super far. Body weight relationship here, all under physical health. If you hate your body, if you are not comfortable in the body that you're in, if you are constantly at war with your body, it's going to have a huge impact on everything else. So having a healthy relationship with your body and where you are at with your body weight, and if you're not where you are and you come at it in a healthy mindset of realizing this is a vessel to do the work, this is a vessel to serve other people, you can actually get to your healthy body weight and be incredibly happy and content where you are. But it's all about your mindset and what do you think about your body and how are you responding to it. So this is a big one, I think, that cannot be overlooked in any kind of aspect, because it's a make or break when it comes to how your body shows up for you and how you view your body. Adequate rest. We know this is a given. You have to be having moments of rest. You have to have a good sleep routine and as good a sleep as possible. I know so many people work crazy shifts or overnight graves, all that kind of stuff. But finding some kind of consistency and pattern to it and doing the best that you possibly can. Realizing that the sleep has a huge impact in everything else that we do. But our body does need the time to recover and heal that we get during our sleep time. Next one, this is going to be such a good one because it's one that I find is kind of like the odd man out, the sneaky one in the room that people don't often like to acknowledge or recognize. But this is going to be non-negotiable. Number 4 is career and finances. This one is so much fun to work with because all of us come from some place of a relationship with money, and either unwiring or clearing out old beliefs around money or how you view wealth and success, how you view yourself, what you think you're worth. All of this is wrapped into this number 4 non-negotiable. But I want to encourage you to think about how you are focusing on building your knowledge. And so much of this around career and finances is being like a sponge and just absorbing as much as you can and learning from these really amazing tools and resources that are out there to increase your knowledge in this area. So many times we avoid things like finances because we just don't know a lot about it. Either we weren't taught much about it, or we just haven't had the opportunity, or it hasn't been a big priority for us. But now is the time to think about, how do I want to increase my knowledge in my finances? There are some incredible books out there that you can get easily. 3 recommendations off the top of my head. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, very, very good, which is also available on an audiobook, I believe, Spotify for free. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, also very good in terms of the mental side of money and work and how that translates into your life. And the third one is The Richest Man in Babylon, a very good book, mostly speaking in like stories and metaphors around how do you manage finances, how do you create wealth and abundance and success within your life. So there's 3 very good ones to start with, and there is probably a bazillion podcasts out there that also focus on finances that you can learn and grow through. So that's all it takes, just a little bit of investment into it. And also really, really looking at what are your beliefs around money and success. And if you've had trouble with managing finances or making money or just falling into these same patterns with money, I really encourage you to get tapped in to do some work with the beliefs around this. Because until you clear these old narratives and these old beliefs, you're going to find yourself in the same patterns over and over again. So you've got to clear that if you want to create change within your finances specifically and how you look at success. When we look at the category of career and finances, we really want to come at it with this mindset of all needs are met. So we're thinking about how we can create that and really being clear about where we are here and now. Career building is another part of this aspect when we think about career, but with the asterisk of your life is not just your career. It's a part of what you do. And I want you to be thinking about, like, what is your purpose? What is your mission in the work that you're doing? And no matter where you are and what job you have, is you always have an opportunity to serve your mission and getting very, very clear about what you want your mission to be. Napoleon Hill, out of his book, Think and Grow Rich, has a quote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." And that is absolutely 100% accurate in this non-negotiable area of career and finances. If you want something to be, whatever you can conceive it and believe it, your mind can help make it happen. You can do it, I promise you. Now, here we go. Number 5, the last one, non-negotiable, is relationships. We're looking at relationships in specific terms of your significant other, your children and family, and any friends. This is an area that can't get neglected either, and sometimes we do neglect this, but thinking about how your time, energy, and money are being invested into this category of relationship. Esther Perel has a great quote that kind of sums it all up here, is the quality of your life ultimately depends on the quality of your relationships. So taking an inventory and looking at what are the relationships in your life looking like right now at this time? What does your environment of support look like? If you're surrounding yourself with people who are living in that toxic mindset, or they're living in a state of lack or fear or anxiety, that is going to have a very profound effect on you. And you need to be aware of where you are and where they are as well too. And really make a conscious effort about what you're willing to invest into. And also, relationships are an incredible opportunity for your own personal growth. Every person who we come into contact with is a teacher for us. It's the best way to look at what are the things that are showing up in my life that are causing some kind of reaction, some activation within me. I guarantee you one of your relationships is going to reflect those things back to you, so that your relationships can be an incredible source for growth and expansion. But you also need to really put time and effort into what relationships look like for you. Again, it's all that be the person that you want to attract. What kind of relationships would you like to attract within your life? So, bringing everything all back together, all 5 non-negotiables, it requires getting very clear on what's going on. So that great awareness around where are things now, and then putting your attention on what you want. So it's all good and well to bring that awareness in, but what I really encourage you to do is to take some time to sit down and write down these 5 categories and think about where you are in your life in these spots currently, and then start to think about where you want to be. What are your goals? How do you want to show up in these areas of your life? What do you want for your life? Because what you put your attention on is what you want. And so if you want something different, if you want peace and joy and fulfillment and abundance and all the good things out of each one of these categories, is start to focus your attention on that and do something about it. I really hope that you enjoyed our conversation today. You could resonate with bringing these non-negotiables into your life and go out there and make yourself a priority. If you found value and inspiration in this episode, I would love to hear from you. Let me know how it landed with you. And as always, if you know anyone that can benefit from this conversation, or you just want to spread the joy and abundance, you can share this conversation with whoever you want. We appreciate you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.